welcomed now by the Israeli President Isaac Herzog from his residence also here in Jerusalem. President Herzog, thank you for joining us on Sky News. 170 drones, 30 cruise missiles, 120 ballistic missiles fired by Iran at Israel. What is your assessment of the attack that took place last night?
As you know already, Israel has undertaken all the necessary steps to block this attack, which was a violent, flagrant violation of all the rules of international law. And most importantly, I'm happy that we are part of an incredible coalition of nations that has been part and parcel in preventing most of these missiles and drones and weapons to come into Israel. Our air defense system has proven incredibly successful, including our Air Force. But what's the real story here is that emanates in front of the world arena and calls for special attention by all of the key figures in the free world is to understand that there is an empire of evil in Tehran, which has its proxies laid all over the region and terror cells all over the world. And it's about time that the world faces this empire of evil in Tehran and makes it clear to the Iranian regime that this cannot pass by, that this is unacceptable. This attack is just another example of how they operate for years and years, spreading havoc, terror, instability all over the world and especially in our region.
You say that this attack was unacceptable. The world, and of course here in Israel, people are wondering what happens next. In your view, is this the end of the matter? The Iranians have come out today and said we have no intention of continuing the operation against Israel, or do you think Israel should respond?
So the Israeli Security Cabinet is right now convening under its responsibilities and domain laid by Prime Minister Netanyahu, and they will take the necessary decisions to protect and defend the people of Israel. I guess every one of our decent viewers will ask him or herself, what would we do had we been attacked by 500 missiles and weapons like last night? In proportionality, in Britain, it would mean 3,500 missiles, drones, and cruise missiles. So we have to look at it in the right perspective. I'd say further than that.
Well, can I just come in there? If we're going to look at it in the right,
keep on working.
We're going to look at it in the right perspective.
All peace processes in the region. Pardon?
Mr. President, sorry to interrupt you, but if we're going to look at it in the right perspective, we have to consider what happened on the 1st of April when an Israeli strike took out a senior Iranian Revolutionary Guard commander and others in an Iranian consulate in Damascus. Now that in itself is a violation of the Vienna Convention, and it is what led to Iran responding last night. Was that strike by Israel to take out a man who I understand was a threat to the state of Israel, but was that strike worth it?
So first of all, it wasn't in the consulate. As far as I understand, it was in a separate building nearby the consulate. That general has led operations from both frontiers, Lebanon and Syria, has taken aggressive terror attacks endlessly against Israel, violating in the international border between Israel and Syria and Israel and Lebanon, carrying out terror attacks day in, day out, with the entire machine instructed from Tehran. Now, let's put it straight in the face of everybody. If you think that now it ceases and Iran goes back to being a calm neighbor in the region, absolutely not. What Iran is doing, spending billions of dollars, by the way, when most of its people are really, really poor and suffering from the failures of that regime, they're spending billions of dollars in just undermining stability in the region, going for terror, endless terror, and see for the fact that every citizen in the world is suffering in the cost of living because they've armed a small tribe called the Houthis down in Yemen while blocking the main artery of commercial sea transportation around the world in the Red Sea. So this is just another example that we should not turn a blind eye, but we should be looking lucidly at the phenomena called Tehran and Iran. Why is this empire of evil using its weapons all over? By the way, all Ukrainian citizens are suffering from their drones. It's another perfect example how they operate all over the world. And we are here to protect Europe in many ways from this empire of evil, and it's about time we realize it, because we saw it last night. And thank God for the Israeli military and the incredible partnerships we have with the allies, including, of course, led by the United States of America,
I was going to bring in those
also
partnerships.
Thanks to the British forces.
Last night, you very clearly had the support of, as you say, Britain, America, France, and other countries in the region. But let me quote to you what the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has said today: calm heads should prevail. The US President Joe Biden has told Israel, take the win. Those are clear messages from your allies. Those are very clear messages. Don't retaliate. Don't escalate this situation. Don't put Israel and the Middle East on a course for war. Would you agree?
So I would say, of course, that the last thing that Israel is seeking in this region since its creation is to go to war. We are seeking peace. We are peace seekers. We went to peace with our neighbors time and time again. Unfortunately, it all started on the 7th of October when another proxy of Iran, Hamas, has led an unbelievably brutal massacre against Israeli citizens, and the rest is history. We know it. So we should put it in perspective. Naturally, we always listen to our partners and allies. We respect their view. We are also always reviewing all our options. And as I said, we will take whatever it takes to protect and defend our people. And of course, I don't intend to go into any operational facts on the ground at this moment.
No, okay, I understand that. You're not going to go into operational facts on the ground. But as the president of Israel, as a world figure that you are, can you tell the audience watching this and tell the Israeli people, do you think, be very clear, do you think Israel should respond to the attacks last night by retaliating against Iran?
So as I told you, every one of us should look and ask, what would we do had we been attacked in such an aggressive way as we were attacked last night from four corners of the Middle East, with proxies shooting at us, firing missiles and ballistic missiles, drones, and cruise missiles. This is like a real war. I mean, this is a declaration of war, not because we are restrained and because we know the repercussions. And because we have deliberations with our partners, we are considering all options, and I'm quite confident that we will take the necessary steps that are necessary to protect and defend our people. We are not war seekers. I think I would leave it at that.
Okay, before I wrap up the interview, I need to ask you about what is going on in Gaza. More than 6 months of vicious war there, a humanitarian crisis. Do you support the Israeli government's plan to launch a ground invasion in Rafah? Do you share the concerns of the US president and others that unless a humanitarian plan is put in place, it could be disastrous there? And do you accept, whether or not you agree with it, do you accept that some of the conduct of the Israeli military in Gaza over the last 6 months has damaged its reputation internationally?
So first of all, there is a major alleviation of the humanitarian flow of aid into Gaza, major, substantial. Actually, we've opened up many crossings and passages. We've enabled an enormous amount of aid also to be parachuted down, and also coming from the sea and from terrestrial openings. And there's a major effort to improve the situation on the ground with the people of Gaza. We are meeting all the relevant international organizations and working with them very, very closely, and cooperating with many foreign governments on this. This has an impact on the ground. Now, the question is not whether we do this or that operation, but how do we finalize this, or exit from the war when Hamas is incapable of repeating and going again into another cycle of terror like it has done for the last 20 years. By the way, at the instruction and cooperation of Tehran. This is the real question. Where's the strategic change that we want to lead for the day after in order for everybody to see a different direction in the Middle East? Now, the number one issue, the top issue of them all, is the release of the Israeli hostages who are there in Gaza, who are being tortured and raped and who are suffering tremendously. 136 of them in Gaza. We want them back as soon as possible. The entire world leadership is calling for that, but Hamas is adamantly refusing time and again. That's the real situation at hand. And when we enable a huge influx of humanitarian aid to Gaza, we should remember that the Israeli public and all of the family members and all of the loved ones of those hostages are asking us, why are you doing this when you're not even getting their names of those who are in Gaza, or you're not even enabling transportation and passage of medicine into Gaza to help the hostages? This is the quid pro quo in the mind of the nation of Israel. Because we obey international law and because we want to help human beings who are uninvolved and innocent people, we are doing whatever we are doing to help with humanitarian aid. But number one issue that the world has to insist on is bring the hostages back home.
And I should say, rather lost because of the news overnight and because of events here overnight, but I should point out to the viewers that actually Hamas this morning came back and rejected the latest proposal for a ceasefire and a hostage deal. So the agony of the families waiting for their loved ones to be released from Gaza continues. President Herzog, thank you very much.
By the way, fifth time in a row that we have offered new suggestions and they've rejected. It's about time that the world realize, the world realize that they don't really want to move into a deal, and therefore we have to take necessary action in order to bring the hostages back home. Thank you for hosting me.
Pleasure. President Herzog, thank you very much. Well, Kamali, I think, as the War Cabinet is meeting down in Tel Aviv, in the Kiryat and the Israeli Ministry of Defense, to discuss what happens next and to assess what happened last night. The words there of the Israeli President Herzog, who is more than just a ceremonial figure here in Israel. He might not be directly a member of the War Cabinet, but he will speak to a large part for the Israeli people. And that phrase, what happened last night was a declaration of war, I thought was pretty significant. And the fact that he would not rule out Israel taking further action against Iran.